Did you know that only about 1 in 5 plastic bottles are ever recycled? And that it can take between 400 and 1,000 years for that plastic to decompose? It's actually estimated that humans are purchasing 1 million plastic bottles a minute. Let that sink in. 1 million bottles per minute globally. And with 91% of those bottles never being recycled, that's a lot of plastic that's going to end up in landfills, streams, creeks, and the ocean. Look, I'm not trying to sound like some crazy tree hugger, but that's a pretty alarming number. So what if each of us made at least one simple, small change in 2018 to reduce the amount of plastic we're using and consuming? What if there was a company that was out there that could help you a little bit along the way? Welcome to Business with Purpose. I'm your host, Molly Stillman of stillbeingmolly.com, and this show is all about bringing you the stories behind the brands, companies, and small businesses that are changing the world. Each week, I interview an entrepreneur, a CEO, community leader, or just an amazing person who is trying to make a positive impact not only through their personal life, but also with their professional career. My goal is to show you that no matter what you do for a living, you can make an impact right where you are. My guest this week is Lindsey McCoy, the founder of Plaine Products. That's Plaine Products, a clean and zero-waste bath and body company. They are doing so much to positively impact the environment and the clean beauty industry, and you will love hearing all about them. Now, on to the episode with Lindsey. Hey, Lindsey, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Molly. I'm excited to be here.
I am so happy that we have finally been able to connect. We're both working moms, and we both understand the struggle that sometimes life just happens. And so I just like to think that God knew what he was doing, and he knew that today was the day that we were supposed to talk.
Yes.
But I have just, I've been following Plaine Products for, gosh, when did I first learn about you guys? I guess over the summer, and or maybe a little bit sooner, like late spring, early summer, somewhere in there. And
yeah, I think we connected over the summer sometime.
Yes, and I have been an avid, this is, y'all, I'm not being paid to say this. I have been using, and my husband has been using the Plaine Products shampoo, conditioner, and body wash since then, and we're obsessed. It's amazing. I can't wait to hear all about how you got started, but I'm just going ahead right away and putting the plug in for how amazing it is.
Thank you.
And I love the concept of the company and everything. So we're going to talk about all of that, but first, I want to hear your story. So can you give us the Lindsey 101? So tell us all of the things that led you to where you are today.
Sure. So I actually came into the beauty industry from the other end. I've spent the last 20 years working in the nonprofit field, and I was 10 of them to live in the Bahamas. My husband's actually from the Bahamas, and we lived. Cool. Yeah, it is. It's really cool. We got to live on this gorgeous small island in the northern Bahamas, in the Abacos called Hopetown.
Oh, that's awesome.
I ended up doing environmental education. I didn't have a background in it, but living in Boulder, Colorado for a while qualified me to explain what recycling was and why people shouldn't throw trash in the ocean.
Yeah.
And, there they didn't have the same infrastructure that we have here that sort of just makes our trash disappear when we put it out to the curb. So you start to see the effects of your choices, and I started to see firsthand the plastic piling up, on the beaches and the water on the side of the road, and realizing that it doesn't go away magically. Right. And I kind of started doing things on my own, using the reusable bags, getting a water bottle, but I wanted to do more. At the same time, we decided to move back to the States for a lot of reasons. And it occurred to me that maybe I could solve my problem and also solve some other people's problems. So I called my sister, and between the two of us, we started Plaine Products. Plaine with an E, because our last maiden name is Delaplaine.
Oh, so, that's cool.
That's where that came from.
I was kind of like, there has to be a story behind the significance of Plaine. So for people that don't know, Plaine Products, your hair. Well, it's right now. I would say kind of hair care and body care company.
Yes. So we started with shampoo, conditioner, and body wash. We just added lotion and hand wash, And the whole idea behind it was trying to find an easy way to have great products without the plastic bottle.
Yeah.
So all of the products come in aluminum bottles, and you order them, and they come with a pump, and you put the pump on. And then when you're running low, you order a refill, or you can subscribe and we'll send it automatically, and you switch the pump over, and then you just pop the empty bottles back in that same box, and there's a label inside, and you put it out, and the mailman ships it back to us, and we wash them and sterilize them and refill them and send them back out into the world.
Well, I can say from firsthand experience. So I started using the shampoo, conditioner, body wash in, I want to say, end of August. And so, I mean, we're recording this in December. This will air in January. But I started using them at the end of August. And the products go a long way because I still haven't needed to refill my shampoo or body wash, but I just refilled my conditioner. I always run out of conditioner first, always, inevitably. And so I just did my conditioner refill, and it was so easy. Because I was kind of nervous. I was like, I knew I was getting towards the end, and I was like, oh, is my refill gonna come in time? And it did. And then
Hooray!
All I did was, literally I just rinsed it out in the shower and then put the pump in the new bottle and then popped it in the box that came, or that the new one came in, put the shipping label on it, put it in my mailbox, and good to go. It was so easy. I was very excited as to how easy the process was.
That makes me so happy because it took us 2 years to sort of figure it all out from idea to actually launching. And we worked so hard to have people say those words. It was so easy because I am a person filled with good intentions, but easily distracted and a little bit lazy and have a lot going on. And so, there are great systems of you can take your bottle to, some people have shops that you can refill it. And the idea of getting a bottle out of my shower and into the car and refilled and back in a reasonable time frame, I just knew it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So I was looking for something else, and we came upon this idea, and it isn't for everyone, but it works for me, and I'm so thrilled to hear that it worked really well for you.
Yes. And I will say too, it's not just that I love the fact that it's a zero waste product and it's easy to just, go to my mailbox and get my new one and put the old one in. But the shampoo and conditioner and the body, they smell amazing. We have the rosemary mint. And
yes, the rosemary mint vanilla.
Yes, that vanilla. I knew there was another one in there, and it smells so good. But they work. My hair feels healthy. My skin is soft. I really do love it.
And I have to say that is a testament to my sister. So I called her because she is a perfectionist. She and I could not be more different. And I told her this idea, and we worked together, but we kept going through we have a company manufacture it for us that has a chemist on staff, and they're amazing. And but we went through, I would say, 6 at least different companies before we found a product that she was happy with.
Yeah.
And I knew if she was happy, then I would be happy. And it is a total testament to her patience that we found these guys and couldn't be happier.
Yes.
To have vegan products, we didn't necessarily start out going there, but we knew we wanted, why create these amazing, zero waste packaging and then fill it full of chemicals? That just didn't make any sense. So we were looking for a natural product, and then these guys are palm oil free, vegan. They're just no tears. It's amazing. It's magic.
Yes. And that's the other thing I was going to say is I can't wait. We already have, I want to use up what we have before we go and use something else, but it's kid safe too. So I know a lot of families that they get the Plaine products and they're able to use it on everybody in the family, from the babies all the way up to mom and dad. And I just think I think that's such a need that you make it the easier you can make it for people to be more thoughtful about how they're, the waste that they're going through, but then also the products that they're using, like green beauty and clean beauty is something that's really important to me. It's something that I've really tried to educate myself on and change everything over as much as I can in my home over the last probably 4 or 5 years, really since I had my daughter, because that was, I think it's when you have kids. When I was pregnant with Lily, I remember like people got us those little gift baskets with all the Johnson & Johnson baby stuff. And then I had a friend, and this was not in like, I have, there's those moms that are like, you should never use any of that stuff. And it has like, and they come at you like they're being aggressive and mean. But this was a friend who was just like, we have that relationship where we can just talk about anything. She's like, hey, did you know? And we just started a conversation about it. And the more I started like looking at the ingredients in things like Johnson & Johnson baby wash, I was horrified. I was like, I had no idea. I mean, and yes, people were like, well, they've been using it for years. And I don't know, we could get into a whole discussion on, hormone disruption and all that kind of stuff. But, just for me, I was just like, I'm not gonna mom shame anybody who uses. So if, I'm not gonna mom shame anybody who uses Johnson & Johnson baby stuff or whatever. Yeah. But I wanted to know that the ingredients in the products I was using on myself and my kids were safe and clean and natural. And I think that is, we have a long way to go. But I think that people are starting to be more aware of, just like, and I have this conversation all the time about the food industry and how over the last 5 to 10 years, we've really seen this big transformation in the food industry on, organic and no GMOs and farm to table and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like we're starting to see that now with our beauty because people are starting to see the harmful effects of using products that have chemicals in them.
Yeah. I completely agree that we are all just doing the best that we can.
Yeah.
And there's no point in trying. I've never wanted to make anybody feel bad. I mean, either, I kind of keep trying to play this mantra of progress, not perfection. Like, let's just, if we can do something good, let's just do it and not feel bad about the other things that we're not doing. And I feel the same way about natural beauty. I mean, chemicals, probably not a good thing. Right. Let's use less of them. Like, yeah. And anytime we can avoid something with a weird "ine" or "zine" or something at the end of it, food, beauty, all of it, that's a good thing.
Right.
And I think that, we're all so busy. We're all so overwhelmed. You have a trust in a company and you hope that they're putting out safe products, and fortunately, that's not always the case. So yes, I love to find people that are doing good things that I trust, that are doing the research and are, telling me it's natural and that's great,
Exactly. Now, so you mentioned a little bit about how you guys actually went into the process of choosing the product, like what was going in the bottles. And so you were sort of the mastermind behind the recycling piece and the zero waste piece, and your sister was sort of the mastermind behind the other piece. What did that process look like, and you said it took about 2 years?
Just about. I think we started talking about it in the spring of 2015. I was in the process of moving back to the States. So we kind of slowly started easing our way in, started getting samples from people, and then you got to try it for a little bit, and then moving on to, another company at the same time, trying different bottles, different materials. We actually started with stainless steel, and it turned out that they rusted, which stainless is not supposed to do, but we had trouble getting a high enough quality that we didn't have trouble with that. So then we had to come back and say, well, now what are we going to do? And we switched over to aluminum, and we use a cosmetic grade liner in the bottles that's BPA PVC free. Again, trying to get the best quality stuff to make sure that there's no contamination over from the aluminum. But the bottles are great. And the lovely thing about aluminum is that when you do end up recycling it, it just turns right back into aluminum again. I didn't realize this, but when you recycle plastic, because of the way they have to melt it, it actually kind of downgrades the plastic, and you can't just keep using it. Every time you recycle it, it downgrades until it becomes unusable and ends up in a landfill anyway.
Oh, wow. So, I did not know that.
I did not know that either. So it is absolutely great to recycle plastic, and everybody should whenever they can. But unfortunately, eventually that plastic is going to end up in a landfill for a very, very, very long time, hundreds, thousands of years. So, plastic is an amazing material, but I would just love to see it used for things that we're gonna, use more than once.
Right.
If it's gonna last for that long. It just doesn't make sense to use it for 5 minutes and then have it be in the landfill or end up in an ocean for hundreds of years.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be honest, I have zero clue as to where do you even start when you go to design the bottles? And did you just start calling manufacturers? Like, what did that look like? Because I have zero clue.
And we had no idea what we were doing. I mean, zero. She and her husband have a small little, strangely German woodworking tool business that he runs. And so they knew a little bit about shipping and receiving, which was great. Neither one of us had any clue about the beauty industry so we called so many people. We asked so many questions. We would end up back at the same person with a totally different set of questions 6 months later. Like, well, now we're looking for this. Can you help us? And we just kept talking and asking. And some people thought we were insane. A few people were incredibly helpful and understood what we were trying to do and why we were trying to do it. And we just kind of got creative. I mean, nobody's doing this.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that it can't be done. And so, we talk to beer bottling people, microbrew people about how they wash their bottles and what they do. I mean, we kind of pulled in from a lot of different industries. And people are so kind often when you call and just sort of say, I don't even know if this is what I should be asking you, but can you help me? And we had a lot of people help us along the way.
That's so awesome.
Persisted.
Yes. Did you ever consider doing glass, or were you too afraid that it was going to break?
We were too afraid that it was going to break. I mean, we definitely considered it, but I am such a klutz. And then, having kids, it just did not seem like a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of figured, but I was like, I wonder if there's like some unshatterable glass.
No, well, then you end up kind of putting a sleeve on it or something. And we're trying so hard to keep it simple and move away from any extra waste or any extra, packaging that we just said, well, let's just try aluminum and see if we can make it work. And happily we could. Yeah.
So you spent about 2 years kind of developing the products and deciding, what the business was going to look like. What are the biggest things that you learned along the way, and what maybe is something that you're doing now that you didn't necessarily envision you would be doing when you started?
We have learned everything along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still learning every day. We decided to start online just with a website, and we have slowly started moving into wholesale.
Oh, that's awesome.
To work with some partners. So then that was a new learning curve of the barcodes and getting them put on the bottle. And, it's so funny. You work so hard and you design a bottle and you send it off, and then you're like, oh, we didn't put barcodes on it if people want to sell it in stores. So then we had to come back and redesign the bottle and, change it again. And now all of a sudden somebody just pointed out to us that if we're selling it in stores, it doesn't actually say, sort of explain the reuse or recycle, don't throw me away somewhere on the bottle. Because we designed it to be sold from a website where all that information was there, and we were shipping it with information with it. And so we're like, oh, this perfect bottle that we've worked so hard on so many times, we're going to have to redesign it again.
Oh, yeah.
Just that process of, you start with the perspective and you try and answer all of those questions, and then that shifts. And so you've got to answer a new set of questions, is constant, and you cannot envision every scenario, but you do your best.
Yeah. What kinds of places are doing wholesale or working with you guys on wholesale right now?
We are starting with some super cool package-free zero waste shops right now that sort of get the model.
Awesome.
And there's an amazing store called Package Free in Brooklyn, New York. There's some small shops starting up in Virginia and Pennsylvania and Nashville. So we've been working with them. And then we're talking to some larger stores. It's a change model for them and for us. I mean, we're trying to figure out, these smaller shops, they're excited about having people come in, buy a bottle, leave, come back later, buy a refill. And then whenever they manage to drop off the bottle, or if they just want to ship it from their house back to us, that's easy. Larger chains and stores, it doesn't, it's a little bit more complicated. So
Yeah.
it's probably going to be a longer process. But
Yeah.
we're starting the conversation, which is exciting. I would love nothing more than to see this sort of inspire other brands to start thinking about, their packaging and taking responsibility for that.
Yeah. I saw one of those like viral videos on those like Facebook videos that go all around. And, so where we live, I live in Durham, North Carolina, and this area has a lot of, I always say kind of like those Southern hippies. Like, so I'm like sort of a Southern hippie-ish, but not really a hippie. Like I'm like crunchy light is what I like to say.
Yeah.
Like sort of crunchy. So I can say that, and I live here, so it's fine. But we have a lot of places that are starting to have sort of those like more bulk sections of their stores and things like that. But I saw this video on Facebook that was featuring this store in Austin that is very that is zero waste, and they have everything from, you can buy mason jars there, but you can also, you bring your own mason jars. You get everything from your flour to your fruit and nuts to everything, like beauty products and candy. Everything is package free. And I just thought that was, I had never seen that before. But then when I started to do more research on it, I started finding kind of like what you were saying, like there's that place in Brooklyn. And it's cool to see that there are places like this that are popping up. And I'd always be so curious to see how that really works. But, I try to do little things like remember my reusable grocery bags. And my husband always laughs at me because I'm like rolling into the store with these bright pink, like floral reusable grocery bags. But I feel the more that you can get into those little habits, the better.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I was talking about, the progress versus perfection. I think if you beat yourself up about not doing everything, you end up not doing anything. And that isn't good either. So, that's exactly where I started, was bringing my bags. And I can't tell you how many stores I walked out of trying to carry everything because I'd forgot my bags and I was determined not to get a plastic bag. Like 85 things like tucked under me, and my husband's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm not going to get a plastic bag." But slowly I got in the habit, and now they just come out of the car with me, and I, mostly remember a water bottle. And there is a cute little co-op down the street, and we've just started exploring the bulk thing. We forget sometimes, but you just slowly ease your way into these things.
Yeah.
And it is kind of one step at a time, and you get more comfortable and it becomes a routine. And, no, I don't buy everything in bulk, but it's kind of fun when I do.
Right.
The less trash in the trash can, and talking to my son about it, and we'll go pick stuff out together, and he enjoys that. And again, it's a conversation. It's trying to be more thoughtful about it. And it is hard. It is crazy. And I end up there sometimes and I don't have the containers, and I'm like, well, not today.
Yeah.
And that's okay too.
I'm so fascinated by, this is something I know I could not do. And I don't like to use the word, I could never do that. I really don't think I could ever do but I'm fascinated by the people who live a zero waste lifestyle, and they'll show like their little mason jar of trash of like the 2 years of trash. Yeah. I'm like, how do you do that? Because
I view them the same way as I view like the ultra marathoners. Yes. Or, that kind of thing, the Ironman athletes. And like, that is amazing. And in another lifetime, how cool would that be?
Right.
But yeah, I don't even aspire to any of that. It's just not my reality. Right. And I think that's okay. There's a place for everyone in the world. And, I'm never going to do an Ironman, and I'm never going to fit my trash in a mason jar, probably even at the end of the day. Yeah. Maybe I'll go for a week. You do what you can. And I think that just starting to think about it, all of a sudden saying, hey, I could get my sugar in a cardboard box instead of a plastic bin.
Yep.
That would probably be better.
Exactly.
I could get this wooden toy for my child instead of a $5 plastic thing that's going to break and end up in a landfill for hundreds of years. It's just those slow changing of the mindset that I think is going to be good for all of us. I mean, again, those internet Facebook things, but I saw one time and it said, when did it become easier to extract oil from the ground, ship it, refine it, turn it into a plastic spoon, buy the spoon to stir the coffee instead of just washing a spoon?
Exactly.
And I was like, oh, yeah. And I didn't even think about it. I mean, you just, you pick the spoon up and you use it and then you chuck it.
Right.
And it's just habit. And, slowly as a society, I think we just have to start thinking about these things. Convenience has become such an addiction.
Yes.
That we just need to slow it down just a little bit.
Straws. Simple things like a plastic straw. Like you don't even realize that it's just such a habit in restaurants or fast food places where they hand you a straw and you don't think about it. But now I've just been, and I do not get this right all the time because I'm not going to lie. I love a Diet Coke from McDonald's. Don't judge me. But it's something that when I can think about it and when I can be thoughtful about it, if we're in a restaurant or if I know I'm getting my Diet Coke to go, like I won't grab a straw because I can go home and I can take, I can drink it right out of the cup, or I can try and bring a reusable cup. And I don't, just by not using that one straw, I mean, like it seems so minuscule, but over time it really, really does add up.
It is amazing. I mean, the numbers in billions that we use of straws a day, which just seems absurd, but you think about it. I mean, how many people on the planet and, a few times a day. And yeah, so it is great. And, it's funny. We bought some aluminum or stainless steel straws that I, again, try and have in my bag. My son was digging for one the other day. I did not have it. And so we had to get a straw for his milkshake. And, that's okay too. But sometimes we'll have them out and other people will say, oh, what's that? And I never thought about it. It's a conversation. And then they're thinking about it. So you never know, what reaction your action is going to have. And, I've said with this company, again, coming at it from a nonprofit, from the nonprofit world, even if people don't buy the shampoo or it doesn't work for them, I just hope people will be like, and it'll just start that thought process about, why would you do that? And what could I do differently? And why would we want to do things differently? That I think is just worth having.
Exactly. And I've tried to, do little things in my home too, to get myself in the habit of making sure that if I do use up a product that is recyclable, to make it easier on myself to make sure I actually recycle it. Little things like, it seems so lazy, but think about how often, if your recycling bin in your home is downstairs and
it is for
everyone, and you're in your bathroom upstairs and you use up your face wash or you use up your, your skin serum or whatever container, your toothpaste, and you've used it up, and it is so much easier to just throw it in the trash can that's right there in the bathroom than to walk downstairs and put it in your recycling bin. It sounds ridiculous, but how many times have we all done that? I mean,
the numbers on recycling bathroom products are ridiculous. I mean, I will tell you that there are very few people in the world that manage to recycle their bathroom products. All the time I'm after my husband, I'm like, stop putting, come on, walk it downstairs. But I do too. I forget.
Yeah. So I've started doing just something like it, if I do have to have like a plastic grocery bag. I mean, we have kind of like a little container in our kitchen of plastic grocery bags that I reuse for other purposes. And so I always try to have one upstairs in the bathroom so that when I finish a bathroom product, I put it in that bag. And then when that bag is full, I take that to the recycling. And so that way, like, I'm recycling the plastic grocery bag, and I'm, making sure that I have just an easy spot in my bathroom to be able to recycle beauty products. And again, it seems so minor, but just the more that you can kind of put in place to make it easier on yourself, you'll get into that habit, and then you won't, it's easier to get into the habit and to stick with it because you create a system.
Yes. Yes, that is so smart. I'm gonna go do that.
Yeah, it's or even like you could do like a reusable grocery bag or just like a little, just a little
container. Yeah, something.
a little knapsack or
Right.
Yeah, but now I'm at the point too where I've gotten so in the habit that if I'm out and about and I'm at a restaurant or something and they don't have a recycling bin, I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Like, it'd be so easy for you to just have a little recycling bin right next to your trash can. Why do you not have this?
And I think people, I mean, again, in a nice way, as you said earlier, not shaming anybody, but yeah, sometimes people just haven't thought about it.
Exactly.
And so I think, again, just, you don't need to be aggressive. You don't need to make anybody feel bad. But sometimes just pointing stuff like that, people are like, oh, I don't know. I guess we could.
Yeah.
Starting that conversation. I mean, people on the street here like have these overflowing trash bins and no recycle bin. I'm like, oh, come on, people.
I know. And for a lot of times it's that sort of out of sight, out of mind. And like you were saying earlier, like people kind of, you have this in your mind, like, oh, you throw it away and then it just goes away. Well, that's not how it works. I've told this story on the show before, but it's worth mentioning again. For me, I would say the biggest pivotal moment as far as because I've always been so passionate about things like, how humans are treated and not that I don't love our planet. I do, but I've never necessarily been as conscious about, waste and recycling and how the earth is being treated and that kind of stuff. I mean, it wasn't as in the forefront of my mind because I'm more people first. But last year when I went on my third trip to Kenya, our team took was taken to the Dandora dump, which is it's one of, if not the largest landfill in Africa. It might be the second largest, but it's easily top 3 in all of Africa. And it is right outside of the Mathare slums in Nairobi, and it was probably one of the most horrifying sights I've ever seen in my life. The stench was something I cannot even begin to describe. And it was for just what seemed like forever. I mean, as far as the eye could see, just piles and piles and piles and piles of trash. And hundreds, if not thousands of people rummaging through the trash. And I mean, just while we were there, we would literally watch these giant dump trucks pull into the dump and just dump more trash in there. And as the dump trucks would dump the trash, you'd see just hundreds of men, women, and children just descend upon these trucks to try and salvage anything they could, whether it would be food for them and their family, or something that they could salvage and resell. And this is their job. This is their livelihood. And as we were walking along, I'm just looking underneath of my feet at the things I'm stepping on. And it was crazy because you'd have these like there would be one section where it was clear that this is where the hospital dumps their stuff, because it would be just thousands upon thousands of those little plastic and like aluminum like pill holders. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like where you pop like a Tylenol out. I mean, thousands of just the containers that the pills were in. And then we would keep walking and we would see so it's in Nairobi. So this is also where like the airport dumps their stuff. We'd see piles and piles of the little trays that you get of food on the airplane.
Yeah.
And so I was even thinking about my tray of my food from my flight to Nairobi could be in this pile. And I mean, it was so eye-opening of just the amount of stuff that was just sitting there, and then watching people rummage through it to find some semblance of, whether it could be something that they could eat or take back to their family or resell to try and, make ends meet. It was horrifying. Yeah. And from that point forward, I was like, I am going to do whatever I can to not contribute to this as much as possible. And again, it's progress, not perfection. But I will say, until you see it yourself and you literally see the waste that we create,
Yeah.
It is an out of sight, out of mind sort of thing for people.
It is. I mean, we have a whole amazing industry, like you said, to make stuff just disappear.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there are so many other problems in the world, and this one's, at least in the U.S., is out of sight, out of mind. There are other things that are so much more in front of us. But I agree, when you go to other places, other countries, and you can't ignore it, and it is in front of you, and you see the heaps of trash and plastic, you all of a sudden start to think about it. And the one nice thing is, unlike so many other things, this is something that we can do something about.
Exactly.
I mean, well within our control of what kinds of things we buy, how much we buy, how we use them, what we take responsibility for. I truly believe that this is something within our power to change, which is not always the case.
I completely agree. And it really is, the more that people do, when everybody does something like not use a straw, or when everybody does something like recycling their bathroom products, or when everybody does something like switch over to using Plaine products for their shampoo, conditioner, body wash, hand lotion, I mean, it really does add up. It really does make a difference. So for people that are interested in checking you guys out, you guys have trial sizes. So if you want to see, kind of like travel trial sizes that come in little tiny aluminum cans, or jars. I don't know. What do you call it? Aluminum bottles. Yeah, right. So how can people find out and check you guys out and learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, so we have a great website. It's Plaine, but with an E after our maiden name. So Plaine Products, PLAINE products.com. And check it out, and feel free, if you have any questions, there's a contact page there. You'll be shooting me an email. I get to do all of our questions and answers still, so that's fun. And also, people are kind enough to write nice things, which is so sweet. I mean, somebody to take time out of their day to say, thank you, I've been looking for this, or these products are great, or my daughter doesn't cry anymore when I brush her hair. Those are all wonderful to hear, and people have been very sweet about giving us great feedback on the products.
Yes, and I will be sure to have the link and all of that information in the show notes. And sometimes we even have exclusive coupon codes and things like that. So if you want to get a little discount and stuff like that, so that's always good because everybody's trying to save that money. So I will make sure to have that in the show notes. So be sure to check that out. But now is the portion of the show where we get to know you on a little bit of a fun level, Lindsay.
Okay.
So we're entering the lightning round. This is my favorite part of the show because I get to ask some fun questions. And it's also the part where my husband inserts a fun sound effect that is always a surprise because I never know what he's going to insert. And it becomes a fun little game for us. So, Lindsay, are you ready for the lightning round?
I don't know now. But yes, I'm ready.
Let's see. You are Michael Bolton?
Yeah.
Is that your real name?
Yeah.
Are you any relation to the pop singer?
No, it's just a coincidence.
I'll be honest with you. I love his music. I do. I'm a Michael Bolton fan. For my money, I don't know if it gets any better than when he sings When a Man Loves a Woman.
All right. So the first part is I like to ask just kind of some 3 fun questions, and then we'll get into the sort of the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
All right. So this is a new one I haven't asked anyone before. If you could steal credit for any great piece of art, song, a film, book, which one would you claim?
Ooh,
if you could steal credit.
Many.
You're like, yeah, I did that.
Yes. My son is reading the Rick Riordan, Percy Jackson, Greek god books.
Oh, yeah.
Was obsessed with Greek mythology as a child. And so I'm like, what? If I could have written this. Like, this is brilliant. Why didn't I come up? So that I wish that I had written that series and was kicking back Rick Riordan style and enjoying my, yacht in Greece somewhere.
I love it. That's a great one. Number 2, would you let us hook up your recently played list on Spotify to the office speakers? And if so, what would we hear? Recently played.
Recently played. I'm safe right now. Yes. That is not always the case. I do have a deep love of 80s cheese. I was playing a Lumineers playlist, so I think even my husband and son would let me do that right now. I think I'd be safe.
I like it. I like it. All right. So for somebody who co-owns a beauty company now, what is the one beauty product you cannot live without? And it doesn't have to be something that you guys make.
No. Let's see. Probably a really good face cleanser and exfoliator. We don't make yet, but I'm working on it.
Ooh, I love it. Yeah, a good face scrub.
Yeah.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm a little too obsessive about it. I'm like, come on, get it all out of there. But, yeah.
Yes. Mine would probably be mascara. Just because I feel like if I don't have mascara on, I feel like I look not alive.
Yeah, I feel that way about like the kind of the sunscreen with a little tint to it.
Yeah, like tinted, like a tinted BB cream or something.
Yeah, yes. If I had one if it was a go-to makeup, it would be that and then the mascara. Those are pretty much the only products I use. But.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so now we're going to get into the rapid fire questions. Okay. So these are just either or, whichever one applies to you or you prefer. Are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Books or movies? Do you like books or movies better?
Ooh, books.
Ooh, okay. Travel by plane or by car?
Ooh, plane. I'm impatient.
Yeah, me too. Would you rather visit Italy or the Caribbean?
Oh, well, I lived in the Caribbean, so I'm going to say Italy.
I was going to say, I wrote that question before I knew that you lived in the Bahamas at one point. So, crushed ice or cubed ice?
Ooh, crushed.
Coke or Pepsi products?
Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Last one, cake or pie?
Cake.
Not that I have anything against pie, but all these people who prefer pie, I'm like, who are you?
You know, if I'm going calories, I'm going chocolate.
I know.
So I'm gonna make it count.
I love it. Lindsay, this has been so much fun. I loved getting to know you, and I love just how real and relatable you make something like switching over to green beauty and zero waste products is, and how easy it can be. And I am so excited to watch Plaine Products grow and continue to evolve over the years. And you now have a customer for life in me. I love your products, and I've just been telling all of my friends about them because I'm that obsessed. So
I just have to say that, being a totally new product with a new model, people don't even know to look for us. So we so appreciate when people like you take the time to help us spread the word and encourage people to think about what they're doing. You definitely don't have to do that. So we really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Lindsay. This was awesome.
Thanks, Molly. I really appreciate it.
How cool is Lindsay's story? And I seriously love that they are really doing what they can to have an impact on the environment and the clean beauty industry in such a positive way. Trust me when I say I've been using their products for nearly 6 months, and I am a believer. Their stuff is amazing. Be sure to give Lindsay and Plaine Products some love on social media this week. I will have all of the links, including a link to try out Plaine Products and information in the show notes. And bonus, there is a coupon code, which is Molly, MOLLY, at checkout for 20% off. Again, you can use the coupon code Molly at checkout for 20% off your order from Plaine. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. If you're a first-time listener of the show, welcome. Be sure to visit the archives of past shows featuring amazing entrepreneurs and business owners who are literally changing the world with their businesses. And as always, if you're a regular listener of the show, thank you for your support week in and week out. Be sure to head on over to iTunes, Google Play, Radio Public, Overcast, or whichever podcasting app you like best, and make sure you're subscribed to the show. Clicking that subscribe button helps to make sure that you never miss a new episode of the show. And while you're there, would you mind taking a moment to leave a review of the show? Leaving a review really helps me to know what you're liking and how the show is personally impacting you. And if you share the show on social media, be sure to use the hashtag Business with Purpose Podcast or tag me at StillBeingMolly on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. This show is edited by my amazing husband and executive producer, John Stillman, and the music is by Mark Killian of Third Wheel Media. Thank you so much for listening, and go do something good with purpose on purpose.